What is clearly a myth, but is deep rooted in our society. Body hair grows thicker after it's been shaved. Watermelon seeds will still grow in my stomach. Thanks for ruining my childhood. Angelica Pickles. Swimming within 30 minutes of eating isn't dangerous. It doesn't cause cramps. Waiting 30 minutes makes it much less likely for kids to vomit. I ignore that rule all the time as a kid until the vomit happened. And now I get confused about the cramps thing. The widespread belief that people are sabotaging Halloween candy with needles and razors. Despite there being, if I remember correctly, only one documented case in the US. Ever. Also, that people are lacing the kids' candy with drugs. Drugs are expensive. Nobody is going to waste their stash on random kids. That one documented case is a guy that tried to kill his own kids or stepkids or something too. His own kids, yes. To get insurance money. There used to be a thing in Korea about fan death link, a belief that a running fan would eventually deprive a room of oxygen and could kill the occupants if they left it running too long. Apparently the belief was prevalent enough that all fans sold there were usually equipped with a safety auto shoot off timer mechanism. Kind of like clothes steam irons. My Korean husband kept telling me that sleeping with the fan on is not good and it's bad for your health. I laughed so hard. I told him, if that was true then I and a lot of the people in the Philippines would be dead by now. This is in India. If you pass out faint, rub the person's feet to wake them up. TV serials taught the population this trick. Now people do this for all passing out, including drownings, heart attacks, and other serious ailments. Jesus Christ. I passed out once in my town at the farmer's market and some foreign woman started rubbing my feet. Now I know why. Today I learned to pretend to pass out in India for free foot rubs. If you're a woman, don't pretend to pass out in India. Shaving a lot of times gives you a beard. The fact that in the US, an employer can have a policy that says you can't discuss your wages with coworkers. It is illegal for them to even have a written or oral policy stating you can't discuss wages with others. If you get a raise, that puts you into a new tax bracket. You will actually owe more money. My mom used to think getting a raise would result in her making less. Then when I entered the workforce, I saw someone say something similar. I was shocked to learn that this was a common belief. Edit. Hearing people talking about how employers perpetuated this idea makes me feel lucky. Never had an employer tell me that. Awful to hear them lie. Does anybody remember that urban legend that claimed Tommy Hilfiger was on either Oprah or O.C. of Donald's show and said something along the lines of, if I knew my clothes were going to be worn by black people, I would never have made them. I was thinking about it the other day and was wondering how this alleged quote, which was pre-internet, managed to become widespread without mass communication and widely accepted as true. I hear Tommy Hilfiger had to create a press release saying he never was on any of those TV programs. An engagement ring has to have a diamond. And also as a general rule it should be worth 3 months of your salary. Both come from an incredibly successful marketing campaign by diamond mining trading company called De Beers. A cop has to tell you they are a cop if you ask. Not encouraging criminals here. But if you are up to some shady shit and think someone might be a cop, shut up and leave, go about your shady business later somewhere else. Badger, I'm looking at you. The amount of myths, clever marketing and bro science in the health and nutrition world is honestly too much to even list here. You mean there isn't one secret food that will make me shred fat better than cardio? There are several. For $19.95 a month I will fill you in on the details. This guy's wrong. It's not several. It's numerous. For $49.99 per month. I'll fill you in on the real details this guy didn't want you to know. That OCD is liking things to be extremely neat, tidy or organized. I'm an extremely cluttered person and just finding out in my 30s that I might have OCD based on my intrusive thoughts. That a polygraph test can actually be used to detect if someone is lying. This is still used in law enforcement. It's insane. Sugarcane grows faster on sand. That the average person swallows 7 spiders a year in their sleep. Wetty F did. that even come from? I don't know about you guys, but I've had a grand total of 0 spiders climb on me while I've been awake this year. I can't imagine there's any chance that I've had 7 crawl on me while I'm sleeping, let alone crawl on me and make their way directly into my mouth. Spiders Georg, who lives in a cave and eats over 10,000 each day, is an outlier and should not have been included in the dataset. Gum stays in your stomach for 7 years. Adding another lane will make traffic go away. The belief that touching a fawn or a baby bird will make the mother abandon it. Complete and utter bullshit. If you find a bird out, if the nest it most likely fledged. If not and it is visibly very small, it is perfectly fine to pick it up and place it back in the nest. Same with fawns. Animal instincts are much stronger than to just abandon their young because of smell. It has to do more with the fact that fawns hide in tall grass from predators and the mother finds it easier by smell. I think this came about from parents just trying to stop kids from handling wild animals. Leaning your head back for a bloody nose. I think we just tell people this so they stop bleeding on everything else and keep their blood in their own throat. The doctor said all the bleeding was internal. That's where the blood is supposed to be. One of the best lines from B99. Edit: why did I get so many upvotes for this? That black ladybugs with red spots are poisonous. That you need to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. If you sincerely think someone is missing, then report it. The faster that a missing person report is filed, the better chance there is that the person will be found. This is especially crucial when it comes to missing children. This is an important one. It's also real weird how shows keep saying gotta wait 24 hours and the first 48 hours are the most important. 24 hours for missing persons. 48 for murder kidnap. They act like they are not related. Are you suggesting that someone could be both missing and kidnapped? What are the odds? That Marilyn Manson removed 2 ribs to be able to suck himself off. This one is funny to me because my belief is it became so well known due to the fact that no one was too surprised to hear about it and didn't question it. It was also surprisingly global in its reach. I've even heard this story told in China, though I'm not sure if the person knew who Marilyn Manson is, but he does look like the kinda guy who would do that. That you can't get pregnant effects. Many things can lower fertility. But unless you literally do not have a uterus and or ovaries, there's always a chance for better or worse. By the way, as some of these pregnancies can be dangerous. I've known infertile women who mothered kids because their husband was hyperfertile. Their hormonal levels shifted as they got older. Their birth control failed because of medication or surgery, etc. etc. Assume there's a risk or a chance unless the equipment isn't there. The alpha-beta social hierarchy that we observed in wolves. The researcher who performed the experiment realized he had made many mistakes in his original take and has spent the rest of his life trying to undo the damage that report has created. This is one of the worst, in my opinion, because it influences and encourages a type of dog training that is fear-based and that can hinder the relationship between the dog and the person training them, who is often the owner. The makeup of a wolf pack is mostly familial, and the ones in charge are the mother and father, not some chosen alpha. Your dogs deserve respect. Also, the guy realized that it was actually a female wolf raising cubs that were almost fully grown, making him think it was the biggest wolf leading the pack and being the alpha, rather than a mother teaching her children how to live and where to go. So those alpha males I meet are actually just attempting to aggressively mother everyone around them. Cats don't get attached to their owners, but to the house. Completely wrong. My poor cat. Her owner died 2 years ago, and I agreed to take her in. She was 14 years old at the time, and had lived in the same house with the same owner since she was a kitten. The first few weeks were heart-wrenching watching this cat trying to make sense of its new surroundings. She's always social anxiety. I was familiar with the cat owner before I took her in, but I'm sure she definitely lost a few lives during her transition period. Feliway, Soloquin, etc. didn't really help. She's okay now, still a little socially anxious, and stays in one spot most of the time, but she will come to greet me on the couch when I get home. that the marshmallow experiment demonstrated that kids who can delay gratification will be more successful later in life. On further review, it was discovered that what it actually demonstrated was that kids who are not economically disadvantaged will be more successful. But the most recent study found no meaningful correlation between the ability to delay gratification as a child's success later in life. Link. I love how much of social science is basically oh whoops. We accidentally discovered that being poor is a major setback to kids' development and ability to grow into a well-rounded human being. Add it to the list. The belief that lightning never strikes twice in the same place. Actually it does. And sometimes with great frequency. Doesn't the very existence of a lightning rod invalidate this saying? The myth comes from the fact that storms move, and lightning won't strike in the same spot in the same storm, but even that isn't true. Especially with a lightning rod. Though rarely will it strike it twice in the same storm. Anyone says you can trim fat in X area by doing Y exercises. Totally impossible. You lose fat proportionally over all areas of your body. You can't just target one area to work on. I'm speculating here, but could that have come from the fact that you build those specific muscles, causing more of a visual change? Or am I totally off base? Exercise is something I know very little about. That's basically how bodybuilding works. Lifting in specific ways will add muscle to specific areas. Then cutting weight all over will expose that muscle. However, it's still important to note that it's a strategy for building muscle, not losing weight. 99% of spot training exercises won't build muscle in a serious way and are a waste of time. At the end of the day, and this pains me to say as a lifelong runner, you can't really cardio your way to a good body comp. You gotta lift. Edit guys. By spot training I'm clearly talking about the aforementioned targeted cardio. You know, the original point being discussed. If I had meant isolation lifts, I'd have said isolation lifts. You gotta eat right too. It's damn near impossible to cardio all the fat away. Yup, you can't outrun your fork. If you shave your hair, it will grow back faster, darker, and or coarser. Faster, darker and or coarser. God, I love Daft Punk. The Middle Ages were less barbaric and dark than we think. As a medieval historian, I agree. The Victorians are who screwed us over on this one. What did the Victorians do that changed our perception? They made up a bunch of torture implements and put them in museums for people to come look at. Oh damn, I hadn't heard of that. Any particularly well-known ones? I remember seeing a lot of barbaric shit in museums when I visited the UK as a kid and thinking, duck, we really like to hurt each other. Msg is harmful and East Asian cuisine is bad because of MSG. My wife used to think she had an allergy to MSG because the only 2 Chinese restaurants in our hometown that didn't make her sick were the ones that claimed not to use it. It wasn't until she started noticing how many other things she eats that have MSG that she realized that it probably wasn't what was making her sick. Does your wife have a peanut allergy? Peanut oil is commonly used in Chinese food. Generally, peanut oil wouldn't be likely to trigger a reaction if it's been refined enough. But sometimes a cheaper peanut oil will still contain the proteins. Good point. She did used to have a mild reaction to peanuts and peanut butter. No inflammation or itching. Just stomach itches which stopped when she was pregnant with our first kid. The alpha crap people still use in dog training. Even the guy who came up with it regrets it. It turns out if you're mean to your dog, it's probably going to be mean back. And if it's not, you've successfully traumatized it into being scared shitless of you. That 13 is a scary number. Buildings don't even have a 13th floor because of this baloney. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Bro, that was a commercial. You've spent your entire life repeating a commercial from before you were born. It's illegal to have your interior light on in the car, lol. In Denmark it is, if it sufficiently inhibits your ability to orientate your surroundings and drive safely. So basically it's subjective. Edit and mostly concerns driving at night. I'm Britain. Kids are told that if they eat carrots it will help them see in the dark. This originated from World War II. It's crazy how many people actually still believe it. Edit. I thought this was only a British myth fact told as kids, as I found out it came during World War II during the bombings. I didn't know it's worldwide spread. Cool to see though, and that there's actually some truth to it. The British wanted to hide how well their radar tech worked, and they wanted the population to eat more local produce. So they spread the rumor that their pilots had excellent vision and could see German planes before they could see them because they ate a lot of carrots. That getting caught in rain causes a cold. Every rom-com anime disagrees with you. Anime people don't just get a cold from rain, though. They instantly get massive fevers that can last for days. Red goes faster. Orc mentality. Next you're gonna tell me that purple isn't the sneakiest color. If purple wasn't the sneakiest color, then was you never seen a purple orc? Think, Yumi. Think. Sitting too close to the TV will make you go blind. Bigger is better in bed. A former friend of mine once told me of a guy she dated who was so big she said, "Oh, no way that thing is going inside of me." She didn't say his name, but only referred to him as horsecock. Dominance in dog training. Edit. And as this post shows, the dominance theory is still permeating the culture and its advocates are pushing back despite the evidence to the contrary.